Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. And I get this question a lot. Can we control the weather? Control. Modify. Control. Modify. There's a lot that goes into semantics. And I know that, people don't really want to focus on the words we use. But the words have meaning. I really want to hammer this point home today. We're going to get straight to this one. Because in the last video, I talked about graphene rain and seeding Vermont floods. And one of the recurring themes on this channel is that I constantly get this same question over and over and over again. And I'm gonna basically answer a question that's been asked in the chat, one specific one. And we're going to talk about advancements in electric weather control and chemical weather control. Now, as clearly stated in the cover photo, control is an illusion. Maintaining the illusion of control with the illusion of power is delusion. The people that say they control the weather, they say it because they're making money. Because they want to make money. Almost all of them. In the case of weather warfare, even then, it's not weather control. It's controlled chaos. There's a big difference. Since 1946, when cloud seeding was invented, they have never been able, they being the scientific community, has never been able to prove they can control anything with the weather, have a controlled outcome, that they can say we're going to make rain in this exact spot and this exact amount, and even come close. Statistically impossible, never going to happen. So, what I want to pose for you is a little mind experiment, and then I'm going to show you the future of weather control. And then you be the judge. You let me know in the comments. If you're watching this somewhere else, you haven't come to the channel before, or somebody else has downloaded this, go to ClimateViewer.com. Check out all my stuff. Check out the weather modification history timeline, the newspapers, the frequently asked question pages. And if you like what you're seeing, if this resonates with you, please support the channel by donating. Let's get into it. So in the last video, I talked about graphene and the advancements in weather modification. Because since Vincent Schaefer, Irving Langmuir, and Bernard Vonnegut invented cloud seeding back in 1946, there has been little change. It's been, originally they tried CO2, dry ice, and silver iodide. For those that don't know, silver iodide is basically silver salt. So silver salts have been pretty much the predominant chemical used in cloud seeding since 1946. The whole point of this last article, this last video, was to basically show that they are using graphene, silicon dioxide, and several other chemicals like titanium dioxide in nanoparticulate form in the United Arab Emirates in what's called the UAE Rainfall Enhancement Program, UAE REP, and that a lady by the name of Linda Zhao, which you can see is right here on, I always put the links in the details, so you can come down here and all of the links from this video are right here. Okay? I'm not going to harp about the last video. If you want to watch it, you can. If you don't really care. It's not really even pertinent to this, so it doesn't matter. This is a thought experiment. I want you to Just see if you can get it today. If you get it, let me know in the live chat. If you're not here for the live chat because it's late, let me know in the comments. Or you can email me, jim@climateviewer.com. By the way, I don't delete comments. No comments. The only comments I've ever deleted are the people who threaten to hurt people. Like the silly MFers out there that talk about shooting down planes. No violence. Attack ideas, not people. So I had this specific question down here. And I'm going to go to it. Because I get this one a lot. Hi, I'm sorry. Let me see. Can I make that any bigger without totally ruining the page? There we go. That's about as big as I can make it without totally screwing this up, I think. So, hi. I'm sorry. This is Milda986. Hi, I'm in about 26 minutes and I have to comment about they can screw with the weather but can't control it. It doesn't make sense because if I can screw with something, it means I can control it. That's the crux of her argument. And I understand the thought process behind it. But the difference is you cannot control weather. You cannot control the climate. There are far too many variables. Okay. And I used to live in this fanciful world too, where I thought that, everything was controlled and, the new world order was behind it all. And after, 13 years of doing this, I've come to the conclusion that no, these people are the exact same people that were around in the early 1900s. They have no clue. They have no clue. Yeah, there's nothing scientific about this comment, not hating on her. And I'm not hating on her either. Growing Reality says in the live chat, I'm not hating on her either. But they're especially screwing with our weather since last September. Our sky, unlike anyone else's, has been a white sheet of plastic up to now. I'm sorry, honey, but that's everybody's sky. I mean, it's not just yours. Everybody's got the milky white haze. Nothing particularly special about that. That is geoengineering. That comes from the airplanes. That is what Chuck Long called the subvisual ice haze. Not the contrails, not the chemtrails, not the clouds. It's milk white because it's geoengineering. And it comes from jet fuel. That's everybody on the planet. But anyway, the weather here that used to be mild during summer times is hot and sometimes even above 30 degrees Celsius. They also keep changing the temperature, especially during the growing season from cold to hot. I've smelled the harsh chemical odor from November of last year. Now the sun is covered in a sheet of plastic. So what I'm hearing repeatedly, this is about the plane farts problem. This is about the geoengineering, turning the sky white, holding in the heat. This is a worldwide problem. But is it control of the weather? It still isn't. Anyway, she summarizes with this. I say summarizes, but they've been controlling the weather with God knows what chemicals, and it's changed the balance of the soil, the growth of many veggies and plants. Dandelions that used to cover our property are gone and replaced by another plant. I don't see many bees, if any. Their tactic is to create hunger, havoc, hunger, destruction for their new world order. Okay. I mean, I get it. I've heard this many, many times. In fact, I used to feel this way, like, oh man, but I mean, even in the word they, like what the absolute hell, Ryan, You tested me, but I'll click it. Let's see. Can I comment on this? Video will be ready soon. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to comment on it, Ryan, because it's just spinning and spinning. Got something radar related, I'm sure. But what it do? Because it don't want to do right. We'll let that cook in the background. Hopefully it doesn't have a bunch of audio on it, because I won't even know. Which could be kind of funny, actually. So let's get to the point of this whole thing. So yeah. So at the end of the day, there's electric and there's chemical weather modification. And I even put it in here, you know, weather modification, chemical and electric weather control. Ooh. But that's because a lot of people Google weather control like it's a thing, but it's not. And I created these frequently asked question pages for a specific reason, because I want people to understand the bigger picture. So these pages, if you look up here, I have geoengineering, weather modification, space weather modification, and artificial clouds. And each one of these pages is specifically designed that if you've never heard of this before, if you're showing this to a complete noob who's never even heard of this topic before, that I know it's a radar loop, Ryan. I could see the preview. I'll check back on it and see if it actually comes up, but it's not a, oh, there it goes. Brosef. I see. Now, for me to give my honest opinion on this, bro, I would have to know exactly what time this happened, because this clearly looks like a storm front coming through. And you'll see it's bowing in front of it. But then you see bloom, and that's atmospheric bloom. And that's obviously, those are lightning strikes. So, I mean, it is interesting looking, but that's the storm front right there in front. That's atmospheric pressure combined with condensation nuclei, water vapor, and all of the above. And you can clearly see that as it comes through, then all the lightning happens right behind it. But then you have this bloom effect coming out as well. So did this happen as the sun was going down? Would be the question I'd ask you. I'd need to know what time this occurred to give a better answer on it. But very cool looking video, man. Thanks for here. I'll bookmark that. But let's stop the looping. So back to this thing here. Yeah, that's what Growing Reality said. Even when there's no storm front, I've observed this phenomena at night. And that's what's called atmospheric bloom. And you're going to see this anytime the sun is setting. You'll actually watch all of the, if you watch it in real time, you'll see all the NEXRAD radars all the way across the country do the exact same thing. I'll bet you if I looked at the CONUS loop right now, you could see it right now. Should I look? I mean, we're live. I wanted to stay on topic because I know people get bored very easily. But you know what? I'm a gambling man. I don't gamble at all. But I'm willing to gamble on things like this because there's no money involved. I don't have the money to be gambling. Promise you on that. But I'll go look real quick just to see. So I'm going to go over to ClimateViewer 3D. I'm on climateviewer.org. I'm going to go up to the more and I'm going to hit Earth Monitor. Then I'm going to scroll down here till I see, should be radar weather. Don't want to do that one. I don't want to do that one. I want to do the National CONUS loop. Is this it? New radar landing page. Erg. Bridge 2 landing page. Where you got it at? Radar. What is this garbage? No. This is garbage. Where's the old one at? The big one. Oof. Nope. Gonna have to update it. Yep. There you go. You can see it clear as day. So that's the balloon. As you can see, right as the sun goes down. Can I not zoom in on this at all? Let's try to zoom in. So right about here, that's the sun going down. Right here and here. So as you see the sun go down, you're going to see bloom, and it occurs on every single radar simultaneously. Just saying. Here, I'll drop that link in chat. You can see it for yourself. But yeah, that's a common thing. It's called atmospheric bloom, and it happens at nightfall, and it follows the sun. And sometimes you'll even see these radar beams all point at the sun. These beam reflections. But yeah, I'm willing to go off topic. Yes, Bob. Like I will totally go off topic. I mean, I'm just built that way. Like, can't help myself. So back to the story at hand. So with weather modification, there's cloud seeding, which is using chemicals, and then there's cloud ionization. We're going to talk about both of these. And then I've got the 10 technologies. So if you're not familiar with the 10 technologies to control weather modification, and I often, use the words interchangeably. Growing, he who shall not be named, claims its radio frequency transmission facilities. The blue fluctuations on the map are NEXRAD radar facilities. Just so we're clear. So what I'll do this. I'll go back and I'll actually show you. Since we brought it up, since we went there, we'll go back to this. So you can actually see these here. And then I'm going to go back to ClimateViewer 3D. Going back off topic. I love you guys though. It's worth it. And I'm just going to click ClimateViewer 3D. Now we're on the 3D globe. And I'm going to go to, so you guys can see where to go. History and science, atmospheric sensors and EMF sites. This section right here. When you click that, you can scroll down and you can see all kinds of different sensors, but these are the Canadian Doppler radar stations. And we're going to go all the way down. I want to make it a little bit bigger, so smaller, so I can go through these faster. Did you know there are Doppler radars in the ocean? They're called the Integrated Ocean Observing System Doppler radars. So they're in blue. These are Joint Surveillance Systems, Air Route Service Surveillance Radars, ARSR4s. They're in red. And finally, the NEXRAD Doppler radar stations are in green. Now we can see all of them beautiful radars all at the same time. And that's what they look like. So we're looking at the National Radar CONUS over here, base reflectivity. So you know what? I'll bring up base reflectivity. I will go to weather. I'll go to rain and snow. And then I'll come down here. I swear to God, if this don't work, I'm going to be mad. Base reflectivity. And what do you see? The exact same thing. So So now I'll make the background black so it's easier to see all this, and boom, this is what you end up with. You can actually see where the Doppler radar stations are. Each one has a name for it. At one time, these all actually work. Oh, look, they still work. Good, not a broken link. But you can actually pull up the NextRad level 2 and level 3 data for each station. So you can see this is KDDC from Dodge City, Kansas. When you click on that, and I had the radar, these were all linked to a college ed page, but we'll see if that still works. It still works. Magic. So you can actually go to my radar map and come straight in here and hit play and see the radar animations in real time. Number of images, let's go a lot. Let's go 96 because I got a gigabyte per second. Boom, that was fast. And then you can actually come in and see the animations for each station. So I actually linked every single. This took a while, by the way. But no, needless to say, I have studied the radar. Okay, and they're not controlling the weather either. They might be modifying it, but you know, they might be screwing it up, but they certainly aren't controlling it. So you can see, if you don't know, Joint Surveillance Radar, JSS, or FAA long-range radar sites, they actually pull double duty. They work as military flight tracking for the FAA and the military, and they can track weather. Raytheon's actually looking to replace all of them with different types. But anyway, you can come into any one of these and just click on the radar station. If you're wondering if this is even real, you can actually click the satellite view. You can come back up here to the map list and just grab this radar and make it invisible for a second. And then scroll all the way down to the ground, and you will see that, guess what? I put it right on the Doppler radar. So whenever I went through doing these, I played Where's Waldo with every single radar instrument on the planet. So these are Doppler radars in green. The red ones are Joint Surveillance Systems, Air Service Route, Doppler radars. And yes, these were hard as hell to find, all of them. But needless to say, you can actually overlay, the rain. You can bring up the satellite if you like. How the hell did I just do that? That's not even possible. It's not possible. I got the Sims Mimic, aerosol optical depth. I go with NASA Visual and go with this one. And then you can bring that in and actually see the satellite view as well. So yeah, you can mix all these things together. And it's fun. But, you know, like I said, the atmospheric volume you see every night, this was a long time conspiracy. Everybody like, look, they're turning on the weather control systems, and it always happened at night. Madison, Wisconsin's Doppler. I haven't updated. I mean, in all fairness, I haven't updated it in a long time. I mean, when did I create this map? I would have to look. So I can click the little info button right here. It'll take you to a page with just it on it. And then I've got information about it. So next generation radar, NextRad, or WSR-88D. Do I have a time and date on here? Nope. But it's been a minute. I'm gonna tell you that. It's been a darn minute. So I will go back through, and if there are more I need to put on there, I'll put them on there. But I'm almost done with. We're gonna get back on task here. So I'm working on these frequently asked question pages because I want them to cover everything. Madison, Wisconsin. All right, well, let me look. Gonna do a little search. Madison, Wisconsin. Sure. I got nothing. I got this. Sullivan Township, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Wisconsin, Eric is mad. He's like, why don't you have this? Bro, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. I don't even claim to know. But yeah, like, this is from Wisconsin. Does that count? I'll look into it, bro. I'll look into it. So the point being, there's chemical and there's electric clouds, weather modification. In both cases, I want to point out the obvious. All right. So I'm going to make it really big and I want you to see this part right here. So if I click on cloud seeding right here, because it's under the technology section, I wanted to make the point about, what it's used for: precipitation enhancement, to make drought, because you can make drought with cloud seeding chemicals, hail suppression, snowpack augmentation, hurricane modification. You cannot control, like with a remote control, a freaking hurricane. It's impossible. Way too much power involved in those bad boys. But does cloud seeding work? And basically, when they did the Wyoming weather modification pilot program, wrong button. They said cloud seeding has produced a 3% increase in precipitation with a 28% probability that this happened by chance. Most scientists and statisticians wouldn't accept that level of uncertainty, says Breed, who was part of the NCAR team that analyzed the results. But for water managers in drought-prone areas, it's a different story. If you say, I'm 70% confident that this will have an impact, well, a lot of them will think that's not too bad. It's about numbers. It's about selling the program. So I got the little link to the 3D map. I'm not going to get off track again. National Science Foundation, Critical Issues in Weather Modification Research, 2003. Although 40 years has passed since the first NAS report on weather modification, this committee finds itself very much in concurrence with the findings of that assessment. We conclude that the initiation of large-scale operational weather modification programs would be premature. Many fundamental problems must be answered first. It is unlikely these problems will be solved by the expansion of present efforts. We emphasize that the posteriori evaluation of largely uncontrolled experiments. We believe the patient investigation of the atmospheric processes coupled with an exploration of the technological applications may eventually lead us to useful weather modification, but we emphasize that timescale required for success may be measured in decades. This was in 2003. Now, true, it's been 2 decades since the National Science Foundation said this, but be reminded that it had been 4 decades since they last tested cloud seeding to see how accurate they were. They failed miserably. AMS, Critical Assessment of Hygroscopic Seeding of Convective Clouds for Rainfall Enhancement, 2003. It was concluded the tests conducted so far have not yet provided either a statistical or physical evidence required to establish that seeding concepts have been scientifically proven. Not control, experiment, modification, screwing with the weather, tampering with the weather, not control. In fact, in the next piece we're going to talk about, which is from the Weather Modification Association's 2023 abstracts, where they talk about cloud ionization, which we're going to get into here with the shocking electric weather modification companies. The World Meteorological Organization said this: "It should be realized that the energy involved in weather systems is so large that it is impossible to create cloud systems that rain, alter wind patterns to bring water vapor into a region, or completely eliminate severe weather phenomena. Weather modification technologies that claim to achieve such large-scale or dramatic effects do not have a sound scientific basis. In effect, hail cannons, ionization methods, and should be treated with suspicion. Purposeful augmentation of rain, reduction of hail damage, dispersion of fog, and other types of cloud and storm modifications by cloud seeding are developing technologies which are still striving to achieve a sound scientific foundation." World Meteorological Society executive summary of the WMO statement on weather modification from the World Meteorological Organization's expert team on weather modification, 2010. Oh, we're not done. I want to hammer this point home. And I'm not going to read this one. I'm just going to skip it, but nah, screw it. This is from Edwards Aquifer Cloud Seeding. This was in, I believe, down in Texas. I can bring it up on the Wayback Machine because they delete everything. So clearly it was in 2012. And that looks like a big save right there. So boom, we'll click that one and you'll see that this is, legit. So yeah, this is Texas. I can already tell. And you can see right here, they show cloud seeding, time after seeding. This is what we expect, blah, 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 and all this stuff. But right here is where I got this from. So what did they say? In 2007, the Edwards Aquifer Association approved cloud seeding efforts for the 9th year in a row, and for the first time, the program included a method to statistically evaluate the project's effectiveness. And keep that in mind. 9 years in a row, they did cloud seeding, but for the first time, the program included methods to statistically evaluate the project's effectiveness. 4 board members voted against continuing the program, saying there was evidence that cloud seeding could actually decrease rainfall by accident. And they also have concerns about the EAA paying for scientific studies to investigate something the National Academy has already concluded doesn't work. Okay. So why does this matter? Because massive advances in artificial intelligence, remote sensing capabilities, and the technology they use to modify weather are necessary for them to ever even hope to control weather. So this is all about making that money and then blaming climate change whenever things go wrong. Obviously, but I think this paper more than anything nails it home on the possible use of geophysical cybernetics and climate manipulation, geoengineering, and weather modification. It's necessary to point out that many attempts and experiments to modify the atmospheric processes and weather phenomena have been made in the previous century. That's 100 years. However, both geoengineering and weather modification are considered outside the scope of control theory. If it's outside the scope of control theory, it falls under chaos theory, meaning At the best you can hope for is controlled chaos, because the atmosphere is chaotic and they don't know what's going to happen. Hell, they can't predict the weather for 7 days from now. Most of the time when I'm checking it, and I'm a weather nut, they can't predict the weather 2 days from now. They certainly can't predict the cloud cover tomorrow. But you mean to tell me that they can control the weather beyond a shadow of a doubt? Oh, well, wait, Jim, I'm going to play devil's advocate on myself. They can't predict the weather because so many people are controlling weather, and the shadow hoods and the Illuminati of the New World Order, they're controlling the weather. So by the time they make a prediction, somebody comes along and controls the weather, and that's why they never get it wrong. Right. Dr. Tamitha Skov, the space weather reporting chick, yeah, she's epic. I remember watching her videos for quite a while. I barely watch YouTube anymore. It's kind of sad. I just work. I'm so busy working on, right now I'm working on these fag pages. You wouldn't believe the crap that's about to come out on these. So let's make this a little more fun. So what does the future hold? They monstrously failed with silver salts and, all of the technology they've been using so far. And cloud ionization seems to be the new big one. And of course, I just read you a statement from the World Meteorological Organization, who literally wanted to shoot down all of these, electric weather modification companies. So what are we talking about? We're talking about, basically the electrostatic method. And certainly they said you can't steer clouds. So when Miles Research, aka Acquiesce, when I interviewed David Miles from Acquiesce, and you can see that here, we had a long discussion about
a defense grade bunker. We've had to hide in plain sight and come up with a way to create really disparate operating platform, which is essentially offline, but it enabled us to launch multiple signals to triangulate targets and to relatively stay out of harm's way, I guess. So it was interesting taking advice from these guys. At the same time, we realised that they may have a vested interest in what we were doing, and there was a relationship there for a while with these advisors from the three-letter agency, but they did bill us for their time and advice and a couple of trips, and I ran out of spare cash to keep paying them, and we parted ways. But I think it's quite good advice in that we haven't really had any major security issues, and we're only.
So we were talking about, the military stealing his technology because he claims to use ground-based electrical signals from radars or something like that to launch them into adjust the flight paths of weather systems, and that they can steer atmospheric rivers. And he partnered with David Kaczynski, CEO of Cyblue Inc., a U.S. Air Force company, who he claims stole his technology. Climate Control Global Trading LLC, also out of the United Arab Emirates, claims to steer hurricanes with ionospheric modification and cloud ionization technologies. Watch the video on that. Read the entire article. WeatherGenerator.net. Weather Generator uses these cloud ionization platforms. They shoot electricity into the sky. Instead of using chemicals, they use negatively charged ions. And here's a video I did on that. China's Tianyi project, Sky River. China's trying to steer. They're doing cloud seeding on the Tibetan Plateau and then using electromagnetic beams to steer the rain over to the northwest, to the Yellow River Basin. And the list goes on. The Waste Isolation Pilot Program, I believe that's WIP. uses metal palm trees to protect it from lightning strikes. Engineers at WIP have traced the technology back to 1913. In Tesla's application, he included some sketches. One of the sketches included something that vaguely looked like a palm tree. This is what it looks like, a cloud ionization palm tree. And they also use them as lightning rods at critical infrastructure. Weather tech, same idea. Very similar to what you see here. Weather tech is another one from out in the, desert. And you can see right here, traditional method of cloud seeding. Since the 1940s, this technique calls for an aircraft or rocket or ground-based cloud seeding generator to inject silver iodide or other substances into the atmosphere. The chemicals mimic the particles that serve as surfaces for condensation to occur. If condensation creates water droplets that are large enough, rain will fall. New method, ion generation. Mateo Systems has built 5 sites and 10 emitters, each in the deserts of Abu Dhabi. When the relative humidity at the ground reaches 30% or more, the emitters are switched on. The charged particles attach to so-called condensation nuclei, or cloud seeds. In the clouds where water droplets form, ions from the nuclei survive longer, giving water droplets more time to grow. Each tower is about 33 feet, 10 meters tall, and uses about 500 watts of electricity. The towers generate ions, particles with a negative electric charge. So, in cloud ionization, all of this is out of, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi. This is a big thing out there. Because the United Arab Emirates is using that oil money to get everybody from around the world to compete to see who can make it rain in the desert, who can turn the desert green. Forget about the line, the big city in the desert. They want to green that desert one way or another. So they're willing to try anything, including graphene, titanium dioxide, silver dioxide, nanoparticles. So right now, we're at this critical juncture where silver iodide has not worked. They cannot prove it works. There is no weather control. There is weather modification, but just like the Texas guys said, look, there's a high probability we're just getting screwed and we're getting taken for money. And they could be actually creating a drought when they think they're going to make it rain. They have no idea what's going to go on. So, interestingly enough, the United States Department of Agriculture had a guy come out to Texas and started seeding with electrified water, literally just spraying electrified water out of the back of planes and using cloud ionizers as well. Abu Dhabi, in the UAE, they started putting cloud ionizers on the backs of drones to make it rain. So this is the new trend, because with the cloud ionization techniques, they don't have to add chemicals. There's already chemicals up there. There's dust, there's mold, there's spores, there's bacteria, all of these things. If you just give them that static spark, those negatively charged particles, they will attract water vapor to the chemicals that are already up there, and they actually pull pollution out of the atmosphere. I interviewed the president of Earthwise Technologies, and he said that when they did their tests in Mexico with the cloud ionizers, that these were actually leading to an 80% reduction in lung-related, people going to hospitals. That their respiratory failure decreased by 80%. People having respiratory problems because the cloud ionizers not only how do you electrify water? It's called electrospraying. Electrospraying. It's a thing. I'll talk about it another time. Back to the toys. Australian Rain Technologies Atlant system, again with the pyramids. This is another cloud ionizer. AST Clear Sky Manager. This is a Russian design, such as in Russia, October 2003, and this is in Dubai, September 2006-7, and that's what it looks like. So these cloud ionizers, I've covered them multiple times. I did an older article on it. If you go to cloud ionization, you can see there's quite a few articles on this, in fact, and you can scroll all through those. Like each one of these has their own. Our Rad steering Hurricane Florence. Get a lot of questions on this sort of thing. But the original article was way back here. How Texas Stole California's right here. Back in 2014 was when I first covered it, and this is cloud ionization, electric rainmaking, and laser guided weather modification. And that was from March 26, 2014. So yeah, that's when I first covered all of this, and how they were making these claims. And in 2010, that's when the WMO came out and they said, to hell with that, ionization methods should be treated with suspicion. Well, let's flash forward to today. Because technology always advances. Had tip Nikki Florio for sending me this document. Pretty freaking epic. This was uploaded 04/23. So this is this year. April 2023, and this says March, but regardless, a highly effective sustainable weather adjustment solution. They don't even say weather modification. They don't say weather control. These dudes straight up say weather adjustment. I love terminology. Semantics is so fun. A new weather modification method is introduced that breaks through the major limitations of traditional cloud seeding practices over the past decades and can be applied to a broad range of situations in a large scale, from severe drought relief, weather adjustment for agriculture, enhancing water resources, to large volume CO2 reduction. Now, didn't I just read you a statement from the World Meteorological Organization saying anybody that claims to be able to do large scale weather control, well, they're not. They're saying they're going to adjust the weather. They're not going to control it because there is no control. But they can adjust it, trust them. But it gets creepy. With the near real-time precision tracking of moisture and cloud profiles aloft at any given location, the new method allows the maximum utilization of a broad range of weather situation and cloud types for rainmaking year-round. Combined with the ionization-based cloud seeding, right there, the ionization-based cloud seeding technology running on solar power that has been proven in the market practice in Abu Dhabi and in the United Arab Emirates, because they tested all this. If you come back here and I go to let's see, go to this, go to, I think it's in, let me type in drone right there, world first cloud seeding, electric cloud seeding via drones in the United Arab Emirates. This is May 11th, 2017. So this is what they're talking about. This isn't in the details, so I'm going to throw it in the chat. Yeah, boys. There you go. So yeah, this is what they're talking about right here. Ionization-based cloud seeding technology running on solar panel power that has been proven in the market practice. The new method enables a clean, non-chemical, sustainable, quantifiable, and highly cost-effective local weather adjustment solution that can be implemented in a large scale anywhere in the global market. Okay? The new method utilizes the advanced technologies in the fields of, wait for it, artificial intelligence, machine learning, edge computing, and the ionization-based cloud seeding, providing intelligent forecast information for sustainable rainmaking readiness for public awareness to board marketplaces, enabling the customized rainmaking strategies and cost-effective analysis for any given area or region, and rainmaking field operation automation based on real-time weather environment. Okay. The deep learning neural network models and powerful edge computing platform are used to conduct model training, calibration, and prediction in real time, fully leveraging the public available comprehensive industrial grade weather forecasting data and local sensor collection. A 6-month proof of concept project has been successfully conducted on one of the latest and most powerful mainframe computer systems in the world today. So, here's their address and phone number if you'd like to contact them. One World Trade Center, 85th floor, New York. Phone number 1-516-263-9408. And that would be... Oh, wrong button. Control home. Xuanchen and Aaron Savkur from Weather Corporation USA. What a vanilla ass name. Just weather. Okay, so this is inevitable. Okay? This is my point. With the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence, with the advancement of, not only quantum computing, they're coming out with some crazy fast innovations in artificial intelligence with better sensors, with better computing. Their computer models might actually be accurate. They may be able to actually understand. It's inevitable that we will understand the atmosphere enough to control it. I'm going to say 50 years from now, because there'll be an experimentation period. There will be mad failures. They'll blame that on climate change, not on themselves. And eventually we will get to a place 50, 100 years from now where there will be weather control, because this is an inevitability. But for the past 100 years, beyond a shadow of a freaking doubt, there is no weather control. There is literally weather chaos. It is gambling with the weather. It always has been, and it always will be until major breakthroughs occur. And a lot of studying is going to be necessary for them to do that. They got to train these models and all of that. And I think it's best highlighted by oh, you know what? It's not live. I would have to show you a sneak peek of the new version of ClimateViewer that I haven't uploaded yet. Well, I guess I better just go ahead and fire up my new model. Yeah, it's not up here yet. Okay, so we'll just, while we're doing that, if you go to the geoengineering page, climate engineering and climate intervention, you'll see that, I have the forward. I've got the 4 horsemen of the geoengineering apocalypse and some studies on who pays for it and who writes it. And then I've got 3 sections down here, 5 sections. Introduction to geoengineering and weather modification, 27 reasons to ban geoengineering and SRM, and all that jazz. So what I'm going to need to do is go to my ClimateViewer stuff and go to my PowerShell. And I'll just fire up my server real quick. And my computer's super fast, even though I'm streaming live. This should take about 9 to 13 seconds to build the entire site. And then we'll look at this one because I want you guys to see this quote. Haven't put it on the website yet. Okay, 13 seconds to build the entire website. Now I'm just going to go to the exact same page. We're going to go to localhost. And we're going to go there. And this is the new version of ClimateViewer 3D, which I haven't shown anybody yet. Or ClimateViewer.com. And now, in addition to the Four Horsemen, we have a new picture, the global network of solar geoengineering funding, of who's paying for it and all of that. Hat tip solar geoengineering non-use agreement. Nice little graphic, got a very high quality version of it. There's your Bill Gates, guys. But anyway, moving down here, you'll see there's some new questions on the frequently asked questions section. And one of them is, under solar radiation modification will kill people, geoengineering computer models are flawed. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is why there is no weather control, because computer models. Just like because climate change models or the Rona computer models, all that. Yeah, I would share this to you, but it literally says localhost port 1313. It's running on my computer. I do this all in Sublime text. So what you're actually looking at is this right here. Content, frequently asked question pages, geoengineering. This is what it looks like on my end when I'm working on the website. So if you guys really want to enjoy all of this, this is all the work that goes into coding just this one page. I mean, it's literally miles long. But yeah, so that's the thing. But anyway, this is the section we're going to look at right now. Geoengineering computer models are flawed. And I just want to make the point very clear that all of these computer models, that they're basing what geoengineering might look like on, they're completely screwed up. Computer models cannot accurately predict the weather 7 days from now, but we are to trust simulation of an engineered climate. Geoengineered climate. Would you trust that? I sure as hell wouldn't. Computer models do not have enough information to accurately predict risks as described by Alan Robach above. I'm not going to get into that. You can scroll up and read that. Physical and biological climate system, human impacts, aesthetics, unknowns, governance, ethical, negative impacts. Number 3, we covered this already. Geoengineering and weather modification considered outside the scope of control theory. But this is the one that really gets my goat. So I think that you guys will really get a kick out of this. Let me zoom out a little bit. Holy crap, it just dropped all the way down to the bottom of the page. This is from Jag Stilgo. Experiment Earth, Responsible Innovations in Geoengineering, 2015. It's a book. One Junior GeoMIP. This is called the Geoengineering Model Intercomparison Project. This is just showing you how bad we understand the atmosphere and what, when we put some chemicals in it, what will happen. It's bad. One Junior GeoMIP scientist explained that GeoMIP choices as a fear of moral hazard scenario. The scientists did not want results to be taken as support for geoengineering, either as a realistic proposition in itself or as an alternative to mitigation. The GeoMIP researchers are more interested in working out the quirks of the models than the implications of the experiments. What they're saying is, They're so busy asking, can we, and not should we geoengineer? Can we geoengineer? Yes. Should we? No. They don't ask these kind of questions. Can we build an atomic bomb? Yes. Should we? No. The Oppenheimer argument. I already made that like 3 videos ago, something like that. Researchers ask each other, how well did we do in balancing the Earth's radiation budget? I.e., did we actually cool the planet this time when we ran the computer simulation of what, David Keith and Ken Caldera are talking about with their stratospheric aerosol injection? Wait for it. They discuss how many runs of the world were needed to reach equilibrium. One researcher admitted that their experiment had taken dozens of trial runs to end up at the right place. Tellingly, when asked whether the number of iterations had been reported on in the relevant scientific paper, the researcher replied that it was unimportant. Translation: when they go and they write their peer-reviewed journal studies on how geoengineering was perfectly fine and everything worked out great in the computer simulations, when asked whether the number of iterations had been reported in the relevant scientific papers, the researcher replied that it was unimportant. If he was being completely honest, what they would say is, we ran the computer simulation 573 times, and of that 573 times, 3% of those looked pretty good. 25% of them, damn near everybody on the planet died. But we're going to throw that out. Creepy. Hella creepy. There is a black comedy. I love this part. This is straight butter. This just tells so much. There's a black comedy to the GeoMIP meetings. The laughter partly relates to the minutia of organizing a new collective area of herding different scientists towards agreement on standards, criteria, and modeling scenarios. There's in-jokes about getting the models to do their job. Every time, quote, every time you touch it, it goes bang and doesn't work. Does that sound like control to you? Does that sound like we understand the atmosphere well enough to control it? That the people that are modeling geoengineering literally say every time you touch their computer simulation, it goes bang and doesn't work? And they talk about the models having, quote, a life of their own. See Lenhard 2007 for more on this point. The same models are described as behaving differently depending on the particular computer server on which they're spun up. So if you take the same computer model and then you go to a different computer and you run that same computer model, completely different results. That is not science. That is literally hocus pocus. That's what I did in video games. In video games, we simulate reality. The difference is when you're playing Call of Duty, you know it's a video game. When you're going in front of Congress or the president and saying, hey, we should geoengineer because computer model, they believe it's real. I mean, that's insanity. Pure freaking insanity. That's just crazy. There's a playful aspect to some of the GeoMIP experiments. They are intentionally unreal. But there's also the occasional nervous laughter that comes with the recognition that they are running experiments that at times resemble 20th century war games. One scientist asked, part jokingly, whether it might make sense to invent a new unit, deaths per watts per square meter, as a metric for the impacts of geoengineering. Do you think that's funny? Are you laughing, MFer? Because these are the people modeling geoengineering and what it might entail. Now, at the same time, there are people modeling every single day with software called Titan or the WRF, WXMod. They're modeling programs for what weather modification might look like. And in every case, it's not too good. Just saying. Look, this is it right here. I'll just show you. This is from NCAR, National Corporation for Atmospheric Research. Go away, cookies. Cloud seeding parameterization. I hate that word. My teeth are bad. It's hard for me to say things. More info on my teeth in a little while. Not tonight. Cloud seeding parameterization in the WRF, which is the weather resource forecasting WXMod. Now, if you don't know what WXMod, WX stands for weather and mod stands for modification. So if you see me use the term WXMod, that originally is a military acronym for weather warfare or weather modification. So these are the kinds of things that they run. Okay? They run computer models. They try to imagine how much chemicals, silver iodide, AGL, cloud seeding, parameterization to simulate the physical effects of AGL nucleation into ice and growth into snow. So it's the same thing. They use these computer models to model what they think might happen when they use artificial cloud condensation nuclei to make weather, and they're wrong. And whenever it comes to geoengineering, same thing. It's completely science fiction. That is exactly what it is. It's science fiction. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They plug numbers into a computer model. They pretend that is science. It is the best. It is science. It's the best available science today, but it is not weather control. So whether advancements in graphene, silicon dioxide, titanium dioxide, nanoparticles to replace chemical weather modification using silver iodide, or whether it's cloud ionization using negatively charged ions, which is chemical free, combined with artificial intelligence, neural networks, quantum computers. These three things, AI, neural networks, quantum computers, and hella more sensors, are what they need to be able to understand how the atmosphere works. Every single day they find something new. So until they have a full, and I don't think we'll ever have a full, even 100 years from now, they'll still be finding new things about the atmosphere they had no clue about. But these four will exponentially change the path towards weather control. Until that point, until they've honed that down, until it's mainstream enough, then we'll see a change. Until then, it's just weather experiments. It's weather modification experiments. It's geoengineering experiments. It is not geoengineering climate control. It is not weather modification. It's not weather control. So control is the assumption that you actually have full control, and that you can control your car. But guess what? It's engineered by man. And when the wheel comes off, do you have control anymore? You do not. And the same is true with weather modification. The same is true with geoengineering. If you break it, you buy. If you try to modify a natural system that is extremely complex and chaotic and try to assume that it is controllable, it's liable to come back and bite you in the ass. And by the way, us too. So with that being said, I think that I've made my point, even though we had a couple, tangents. Tangents are fun. I enjoy tangents. Thank you so much for participating in my tangents. What do you think? You think I'm full of crap? Or do you think that maybe there's a possibility that they're all just screwing with the weather, causing climate chaos, and that they really can't control anything? They don't have power that they think they have, because control is an illusion. Maintaining the illusion of control with the illusion of power is delusion. The people that are telling all of these other, they're telling the people in Texas, hey man, you need rain. Got you. Because I'm power. We have power. We have the power of ionization and drones and supercomputers. And we know, and we can bring this to you. You'll sign this check. Come on, man. It's all gambling. It's all gambling. Always has been, probably will be for the rest of my life. But it is not control. I have made my point. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me if you agree. But the whole point of this video was about just the word control. And I think that I've laid this out as clearly as I can. And I hope that you guys will go over to ClimateViewer.com. Read for yourself. Go to the interactive timeline. Get up in that thing. Last little note on the timeline. Currently, if you go to the geoengineering timeline, it's on the front page. It's also up here in the menu. Scroll down to right about here, right past my mug, where this video is currently playing live, as you can see. And all my last videos are right here on the front page. So never miss a video. You can just go to ClimateViewer.com and check it out. Right here, the weather modification history timeline. I changed it up. I made it look cooler because, I'm always messing with things. So go home, scroll back down here. I made it in the clouds and I made it a little bigger. And that was, which one do you like better? Tell the truth. Don't lie. You like this one better? Huh? That one better for you? That do it for you? Or is it this one with the smooth lines? Smooth lines or clouds? But anyway, click view timeline. On the one that's currently online, the weather modification history timeline starts out in the past. It starts out with James Pollard Espy, back in 1841, then goes to 1887, 1889, all that stuff. You can still sort everything by different categories, weather modification, space weather modification, all that stuff. But the new one, I flipped the script and I started with the future. So it starts in the present with the banning of geoengineering and things like that. Whoa. So solar geoengineering non-use agreement 2022. I've got to go and put everything from 2019 to present in the timeline. So I went ahead and put this one in first. David Keyes Strato Cruiser, hands off Mother Earth manifesto, a permanent ban on geoengineering. Iran accuses Israel of cloud theft. I wanted to start with the current stuff so that when people come back to the timeline, they can see the newest stuff that's been added. And then they can work their way back, like the drones in UAE we talked about the USDA spraying electrified water over Texas. I know somebody in chat was like, electrified water? What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, that's the thing. It actually happened. And here's the actual YouTube video for that. I wonder if it's still live. And it is.
The USDA, we had 4 operational days. All took place in June. We flew just the research aircraft 10.5 flight hours. During those operations, we used 1,400 gallons of San Angelo tap water. And the results were actually very promising. So we were utilizing this technique just like as if we had flares. So we were going to the cloud base, finding inflow, but instead of firing flares, the pilot was pushing a button and it was releasing a spray. And as the spray was coming out, it was being charged with the electrostatic system that the USDA has. And that charge was...
The electrostatic system the USDA charges has to electrify tap water, and that's what they use to cloud seed in Texas. So the electric method is a big thing now. Just keep that in mind. And that's what I was telling you guys about earlier, so you can read all about that. Here, this is the weather mod. This is the guy who did it, Wesley Clint Hoffman from the USDA. All of this stuff is in the timeline. So if you want to learn a lot about this stuff, references galore in the timeline. Just dig right in. Let me hit the back button. And you can see all this stuff here. So, and like the geoengineering, all that. You know this guy. All these things. So I'm going to be updating this probably tomorrow with the new version. I got a whole lot of things to add to this, but that's what I'm constantly working on. So I'd greatly appreciate your support by hitting that donate button at the top. It would be greatly appreciated. Just click that donate button. Many different options, or you can just scroll to the bottom of the page and you can see that PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, Gibson, go buy me a coffee. Hey, there's many different ways now to support my work. I'm always working behind the scenes. You're not going to see me just streaming and coding for hours on end, but it's all so that you guys have the world's best resource with the best information. So when you go have that argument with your senator or somebody from your family, or you just want to pwn a troll, send them my way. Send them over to ClimateViewer.com. Send them to the timeline. Electrified water, cloud ionization, nanoparticles of graphene. The world will continue to advance. But as of today, what the hell is today? The 18th? I believe it was the 18th. No, it's the 19th. As of July 19th, 2023, there is no weather control. Nobody controls the weather. Now, hundreds of thousands of different individuals are actively causing climate chaos with experimental weather modification and, as they like to call it, accidental geoengineering. Maybe we'll get into that in the next one, but let me know in the comments. Am I full of crap? Do you agree? Did this resonate with you? Please support the channel. I really appreciate everybody who's stuck around for the whole video. I'm long-winded because I need to be, and I'm Southern. It's just a thing. So, love you, mean it. As Joe Shields from Boston says, live free or die. You were born free. You will live free. You will die free. And remember to use this information to attack ideas, not people. See you on the next one. If the video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.